Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 186 based on novel. So let's start. Continuous furious pounding. Each blow was like the creation of heaven and earth. The cultivators watching from afar could only see the vast earth ripple again and again, and in the center of the battle only the figure of Luofong furiously pounding could be seen, without any sign of the lava prisoner striking back. This is Dragon 9 Daoist Monarch and Divine Emperor Jiku piloted a flying boat capable of short-distance traversals through the void. Rushing here at the fastest speed, they finally arrived at the battlefield. Upon arrival, they saw the scene of Luofong wielding a pill furnace, furiously pounding the lava prisoner. This power. Dragon 9 Daoist Monarch and Divine Emperor Jiku watched Luofong's every strike, causing the surrounding spacetime to twist and shatter completely. The endless earth trembled and rolled over and over, making them slightly pale. After all, this was the Dark Sacred Realm. The spacetime within the incredibly stable Dark Sacred Realm. In front of Luofong's power at this moment, even heaven and earth seemed fragile. Has Luofong Divine Emperor become a high-level primordial life? Divine Emperor Jiku couldn't help but wonder, why do I feel like, if I touched him, I would disappear? I don't know. Dragon 9 Daoist Monarch was also somewhat at a loss. The silver-haired, silver-browed man and the woman in a fiery red robe, watching the battle from the sky, were also stunned by the scene before them. The primordial prisoner simply can't resist, about to be beaten to death alive. The woman in the fiery red robe said softly. A life within the braided cage is about to kill a primordial prisoner capable of exerting a trace of high-level primordial power. The silver-haired man was somewhat trembling in his heart, exclaiming, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I absolutely wouldn't believe it. The woman in the fiery red robe nodded, although it is said that a normal high-level primordial life cannot only possess a trace of high-level primordial power. But what Luofong is doing now, I have never heard of. They had never heard that a cultivator within the braided cage could become this strong. Oh, that prisoner is dead. Xiao said. Luofong didn't hold back. Euphea laughed, come on, let's go meet Daoist Luofong. ******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** brutally shattering the big rock that was the lava prisoner until its life core was exposed, and it wasn't until the life core was smashed to pieces that Luofong finally stopped. Exhilarating. Luofong only felt thoroughly refreshed. With regard to the primordial prisoner, Luofong had no intention of capturing it alive, as he could easily obtain and comprehend the high-level primordial bloodline that matched his own. Such prisoners, better to send them on their way. Regarding the antagonistic, innate primordial life camp, Luofong had no mercy nor any desire to torment. It was better to just kill them outright. He was unaware that this scene had utterly intimidated the over 1,000 cultivators in the distance, as well as Dragon 9 Daoist Monarch and Divine Emperor Jiku, who had just arrived. Luofong glanced around, saw Dragon 9 Daoist Monarch and Divine Emperor Jiku, and smiled as he nodded. "Congratulations, Brother Luofong." Dragon 9 Daoist Monarch and Divine Emperor Jiku both said. Though they weren't clear about Luofong's state at the moment, there was no doubt that Luofong had made a breakthrough. Otherwise, he wouldn't be this ridiculously strong. Before Luofong could speak with Dragon 9 Daoist Monarch and the others, he felt the surrounding scene change. Two figures flew down simultaneously, a silver-haired, silver-browed man, and a woman in a fiery red robe. Their auras were vast and expansive. If the lava prisoner only had a trace of high-level primordial power, then the high-level primordial power these two contained was utterly boundless. Two high-level primordial lives? Luofong was secretly shocked. "I am Chio-Ge. I am Euphaya." The silver-haired, silver-browed man and the woman in the fiery red robe landed and smiled as they introduced themselves. "We are the guardians of the dark sacred realm," the silver-haired man explained with a smile. "Luofong, greetings to the guardians." Luofong saluted as well. The woman in the fiery red robe smiled and said, "We have been observing Daoist Luofong for some time, and today, Daoist Luofong has finally made a breakthrough, achieving the half-primordial life and death Dao. Congratulations, Daoist Luofong. The silver-haired man also said. Luofong was a little surprised. The two guardians knew I was cultivating the life and death Dao. The silver-haired man nodded and said, the last time you sparred with the secret ruins Divine Emperor and the others, Euphaya and I reported to the Lord, and the Lord had even descended to the dark sacred realm to observe Daoist Luofong closely. It was just that at that time, your life and death Dao was somewhat lacking, so no connection was made. Luofong understood. He had previously wondered why he hadn't been connected despite supposedly having invincible strength. It turned out that the Lord had descended once before, but he did not yet meet the connection conditions at that time. The Lords you mentioned? Luofong asked. Our Dark World Group, the earliest territory of Lord Senior Jin, the Dark Sacred Realm was all created by Senior Jin. The silver-haired man Chiu Ge didn't conceal anything, actively explaining, later, when new lords were born, our cultivated territories were redrawn, and this became Senior Yuan's territory. Whenever a lord is born, the territory gets redrawn. Euphaya also said, we've already reported your breakthrough to Senior Yuan, and I believe it won't be long before Senior Yuan will come to connect with you. Come, let's go to the primordial hall and wait. Senior Yuan generally descends at the primordial hall. Chiu Ge said. Luofong nodded and immediately waved his hand to put away the lava prisoner's body. The silver-haired man and the woman in the fiery red robe watched this scene, feeling somewhat complex. They both had a premonition that within the braided cage, this Daoist Luofong was already terrifying, and once he jumped out of the cage, it would be extraordinary. Whoosh! They immediately took Luofong, and in an instant, they crossed vast distances, returning to the large primordial hall. After presenting food and wine, the two guardians, Chiu Ge and Euphaya, took a very humble stance, treating Luofong as an equal. Ever since Daoist Luofong arrived in the dark sacred realm, we've been watching you. Chiu Ge smiled and said, we discovered that your accumulation was extremely deep, so we specifically selected a primordial prisoner to release, to help Daoist Luofong a bit. So it was the two guardians who helped me. Luofong was a bit surprised and grateful. Without the two of you, I don't know how long it would have taken for me to make a breakthrough. Euphaya also smiled and said, with Daoist Luofong's comprehension potential, even without us, it wouldn't have taken long. Chiu Ge also nodded, Daoist Luofong's comprehension potential far surpasses ours. Your future is also far beyond ours. Luofong said, I've now reached the half-primordial life and death Dao, but I'm not sure where to go next. Our abilities cannot guide you. Chiu Ge said, just be patient and wait, and when the Lord comes to connect with you, a path will naturally be provided. Although they had heard that fusion Dao cultivators usually refine world-level primordial bloodline to become world-level primordial life. But they dared not advise Luofong. Because they also knew, refining primordial bloodlines inevitably results in future troubles. Those who didn't refine bloodlines and still became world-level primordial life forms, their potential is even greater. Okay? Chiu Ge and Euphaya immediately had a sense of an approaching presence. Luofong also sensed a formless fluctuation, a fluctuation somewhat resembling the Source World Origins operation, and with its descent, it became an old man. Senior Yuan. Luofong immediately sensed it and quickly greeted him. My lord. Chiu Ge and Euphaya were even more respectful. The old man stood there, gazing at Luofong with a smile of approval. Not bad. In recent years, Yuan's mood hasn't been good. After all, the innate primordial life camp is sparing no cost to completely annihilate the cultivator camp, and the war situation is dire. Many world clusters have fallen, numerous source worlds devoured, countless creatures wiped out. As the leader with the highest prestige in the entire cultivator camp, how could Yuan be in a good mood? Even though his main battle avatar is going all out, the overall strength gap between the two sides is immense. Luofong. Yuan looked at the young junior before him, and his mood was somewhat comforted, praising, you are the 93rd cultivator in the history of the entire cultivator camp to achieve the half-step fusion path. Upon hearing this, Luofong realized just how rare half-primordial fusion path cultivators were. He knew the cultivator camp's territories were vast, possessing numerous world clusters. The long history was beyond the estimation of weaker cultivators like them who haven't escaped the braided cage. In the entire cultivator camp's territory, the endless long history, less than 100 have reached his level. Your spiritual will has also escaped the braided cage. Yuan said, possessing both makes you even rarer. Achieving world-level primordial life won't be difficult for you. Seeing the emergence of an excellent junior, Yuan felt some relief. Yet it still couldn't change the overall situation. Even if there were 10 world-level primordial lives, it wouldn't affect the situation a bit. When our cultivator camp was weak, considering how troublesome we lords were, they could tolerate us. But now, they clearly can't bear it. Yuan understood this. A long time ago, all source worlds were food for innate primordial lives. It was the darkest period for cultivators, every source world devoured, countless creatures extinct like an irresistible catastrophe. When source worlds were consumed, the infinite primordial space would nurture new source worlds. But food for innate primordial lives was very plentiful. They were accustomed to such days. Later, the first primordial Lord Yuan appeared, mastering the highest level of power in the infinite primordial space, with countless avatars, virtually immortal and indestructible. This made life a bit better for the cultivator camp. He tried to shield enough territories. With his strength shaking the infinite primordial space, his immortal and indestructible ability, the ancestors of the innate primordial life camp recognized his qualification to have a territory, and the two sides were peaceful. But as endless years passed, the number of lords in the cultivator camp gradually increased. The territories they held also grew larger. The conflicts became greater. Wars between the two sides occurred multiple times. The lords were strong enough, having successively killed over 10 primordial ancestors. But this time, it's the largest war scale in history. The innate primordial life camp is sparing no cost to wage war. The lords struggle to hold it off. Luofong, the cultivators who were previously invited, were all heading to the land of origin. Yuan explained with a smile, the land of origin is also one of the most important cores for us cultivators. I'm taking you there now. Thank you, Senior Yuan. Luofong respectfully said. Let's go. With a wave of Yuan's hand, he already took Luofong away. Qiu Ji and Yefei respectfully sent them off. The next time we see Daoist Luofong, he might be world-level primordial. Qiu Ji said. I wonder if, when he becomes world-level primordial, this war will be over. Yefei added, they, too, as the lowest members in this war, were concerned about the war's outcome. Infinite primordial space. Yuan took Luofong, advancing at ultra-high speed. Whoosh! The speed was far faster than Luofeng's usual teleportation. The scene before them was already distorted, and he couldn't clearly see any source world. Yuan looked ahead, remaining silent. Luofong could sense that Yuan was in a bad mood. According to Earth time, they traveled for a full 2 hours flying without a single word from Yuan. Luofong didn't disturb him either, he understood. Although Yuan seemed to be carrying him on the journey, likely his other avatars were busy with important matters. We've arrived ahead. Yuan finally spoke up. The land of origin was originally a mysterious land born in the infinite primordial space, refined and fortified several times by us lords. Later, it was the Starlight Lord who transferred the land of origin to a hidden location. Whoosh! Luofong sensed the intense distortion of external time and space. Starlight is the one who holds the highest mastery over time and space in the entire infinite primordial space. Yuan mentioned Starlight, revealing a slight smile. The hidden location he found is difficult for the innate primordial life camp even if they try everything. Through the chaotic time and space, Yuan carried Luofong through layers of obstacles to finally arrive at a stable space. Luofong saw it. This was a vast and peaceful land where the energy was unprecedentedly dense, with many high-density energies condensing into solid forms, turning into soil, rocks, flowers, and plants, or even into liquid streams. The energy abundance here far surpassed the cultivation cave mansion of a large primordial hall. The land of origin can supply the lords with sufficient energy. Yuan said, providing energy to other cultivators is even easier. Luofong also saw the figures flying between heaven and earth, each possessing intimidating auras, each in existence that has escaped the braided cage. In the land of origin, apart from you who are about to break free from the braided cage, there are also over 80 million high-level primordial life forms, 237 world-level primordial life forms, and 7 lords. Senior Yuan gazed at Luofong. All cultivators who have broken free from the braided cage, as long as they are alive, leave an avatar here. These are also all the strong ones from our cultivator camp. Senior Yuan said. Luofong carefully memorized these numbers. Over 80 million high-level primordials, 237 world-level primordials, 7 lords. This is the entire strength of the infinite primordial space's cultivator camp that deters all sides. In our territory, there also exist a large number of innate primordial life forms. Senior Yuan said, and from various wars, we have captured many innate primordial life forms. Luofong nodded. The territory of cultivators was vast and boundless, so the number of innate primordial life forms proliferating must be quite large. Those innate primordial life forms that resist become our cultivation resources. Senior Yuan said, the rest are all submissive. The submissive innate primordial life forms include over 50 billion high-level primordials and 137 world-level primordials. Luofong couldn't help but exclaim, over 50 billion. This figure seemed a bit exaggerated, as the cultivator camp only had less than 100 million high-level primordial life forms. Senior Yuan sighed softly. This is the terrifying aspect of the innate primordial life forms. They are the largest group in the entire infinite primordial space, spread across all areas. Those who submit to us are merely a small fraction. This small fraction already amounts to over 50 billion high-level primordials and 137 world-level primordials. The numbers are too large. High-level primordial life, world-level primordial life, primordial ancestors, there are many. Senior Yuan shook his head gently. Those who submit have all their life cores refined and controlled. Senior Yuan added, if they serve obediently, they can live, but if they are found to betray, they are executed immediately. Luofong nodded. Senior Yuan's attitude was clear. They are refined to become servants. Any act of betrayal means death. Our cultivators have too few strong members. Senior Yuan looked at Luofong. We cannot afford any mercy towards the enemy camp. I understand. Luofong said. If one day, our cultivator camp is completely defeated, all territories are overrun. This land of origin is our final hope. Senior Yuan spoke softly. Luofong understood. The situation had become so severe that Senior Yuan and the others were prepared for all territories to fall. By then, all the cultivators who broke free from the braided cage and the most elite of them would reside in the land of origin, patiently accumulating strength. Over long ages, perhaps a few more lords would emerge, with hope of reclaiming the territories. Senior Yuan, has the situation reached this point? Luofong asked softly. If it completely fell, what would happen to his homeland, the land of origin? What would happen to his dear family? Becoming a world-level primordial is not difficult for you. Senior Yuan looked at Luofong. You will be a core member of our cultivator camp, and I won't hide this from you. The situation now is already very bad. The best outcome is losing more than half of the territory. The worst outcome is losing all territory. Senior Yuan looked at Luofong. Don't think too much. Even if you become a world-level primordial, you cannot influence the situation. This war is mainly handled by us, the 7 lords. One side is the largest group in the entire infinite primordial space. The other side has 7 lords. Each lord possesses the highest level of power. Currently, the entire infinite primordial space, nearly all forces are focused on this war. As for your homeland, the Source World. Senior Yuan looked at Luofong. Once the world clusters fall, the innate primordial life camp will prioritize attacking the Source World where the Master of the Source World resides. Your homeland, the source world, will also be in the sequence of their priority attack. Luofong's heart trembled. Once lost, we will try to migrate some of the lineage. Senior Yuan said, but with countless source worlds, we can't manage them. Senior Yuan was treating Luofong as a world-level primordial. After all, possessing both half-primordial fusion path and will to escape the braided cage attributes provided confidence in refining a world-level primordial bloodline. Swoosh! Swoosh! Senior Yuan and Luofong spoke while flying, allowing Luofong to watch over the land of origin. The lords are very busy. The land of origin is managed by world-level primordial life forms. Senior Yuan said, of course, you haven't broken out of the braided cage yet. You don't need to undertake any tasks, your only responsibility is cultivation. Ahead is the primordial island, where all cultivators who haven't broken free from the braided cage reside. Senior Yuan pointed to the island ahead. On the island, there are more than 80,000 half-primordial cultivators. Among them, you're the only one practicing the fusion Dao. Primordial Island is quite vast. It has a high mountain, the mountain pierces through the clouds, and there's a large cave mansion at the summit. From the summit, one can overlook the island. Even view most areas of the land of origin. Here is your cave mansion in the land of origin. Senior Yuan led Luofong to land in front of the cave mansion. That's Senior Yuan? On Primordial Island, gathered are invincible existences brought from various world clusters. Over long ages, there are more than 80,000 invincible existences here. At this moment, they saw the legendary Senior Yuan bringing a black-clothed, black-haired man flying towards the cave mansion on the summit. Only those with confidence in becoming a world-level primordial can reside in a cave mansion on the summit. These invincible existences clearly understood this point. This video will end here.